issue, gun violence, we have you covered.
If you're afraid of socialism, you're afraid of yourself.
A black-owned and operated, evidence-based alternative ration for progressive, open-minded people like you and me. Welcome home, L.A. We're all in this together. It's KBLA Talk 1580, broadcasting from the heart of L.A.'s Leimert Park. We've got a lot to talk about.
You can't do it unless you believe that you can do it.
I don't want to write this down. I want to tell you how I feel right now. I don't want to take no time to write this down. I want to tell you how I feel right now. Hey, tomorrow may never come. For you or me, life is not a promise. Tomorrow may never show up. For you and me, this life is not a promise. I ain't no perfect man, but I can with what it is I have. I ain't no perfect man, I'm trying to do the best that I can with what it is I have. Put my heart and soul to the song. I hope you feel me where I am and wherever you are. I mean that sincerely. Tomorrow may never come. For you and me, life is not promised. Tomorrow may never appear. You better hold this very moment very close to you right now. Very close to you right now. So close to you right now. So close to you. Don't be afraid. Let it shine. My homie said, shine your light on the world. Shine your light for the world to see. My homie said, shine your light on the world. Shine your light for the world to see. My homie said, shine your light on the world.
1580. Good morning. God bless. I'm Dominique DiPrima. The show is called First Things First, my first thing every day, giving thanks, giving praises, and asking for things from God Almighty, asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders, and getting it started. What is the it that we're starting today? Hour one, talking Golden State, talking local, what's going on in your neighborhood, your community, in your state, and your coast. Hour two, we go national, international, and beyond, see what's going on in the world, light up these phones. Hour three, we do a deep dive with a person or persons of interest. And today we're talking with some folks who can give us real insight on what's going on with the health and wellness of Black Californians. So looking forward to that conversation with Shakari Byerly and Catherine Haynes. More on that later. The election is over, so we're back to sort of our groove here. And that groove includes you. You are invited in every hour, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. I always like to point out, too, that in the second hour of the show, I call it Freestyle Phones, you can change the narrative, change the topic, change the conversation, and focus on what you find interesting and inspiring on this day. It's good for us to inspire each other. I always say focus on what we want, but understanding the objective conditions. A lot of people geeked about Wakanda Forever. I saw it. I told you. I consider that local and national and international because, well, much of it originates here in Hollywood on the West Coast with all these actors. Seems like everyone actually lives in LA at this point. But at the same time, the reach is national and international, the impact national and international. One of the things that they did this time around that I really liked, speaking of what's good, is they did a premiere in Lagos, Nigeria. It was about a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago. It was a big, big deal. It was the first time that a Marvel movie did a premiere in Lagos. And a lot of the actors and filmmakers came out, which is a huge deal for Nigeria. There was press there. They had a black carpet. And I've been to Lagos. It's a huge, ginormous, bustling city with traffic that makes Los Angeles and New York look like country roads. People driving in all directions, very metropolitan, lots of high fashion, fancy parties, big money. Also, lots of poverty. Just like LA, you have extreme haves and have-nots, and influencers. Ryan Coogler was there, Letitia Wright was there, Lupita Nyong'o, Denai Guerrera, and Tenoch Huerta, the new guy, that Latino guy, Tenoch Huerta Mejia is his name, Winston Duke. All the big names came out, so I love that. I know that Panther did a lot of business in Africa, so that makes sense that they would have done so. Black Panther is still the #1 film in East and West Africa, which is amazing. I mean, it's been the #1 film since 2018, so I love that Hollywood is getting more, shall we say, more willing to recognize the continent and the impact of black people worldwide on its business model as our impact increases and increases. Love that story. I would have liked to have gone to that premiere in Lagos. So if you haven't noticed, we are now broadcasting every day on YouTube. That's one of the things we add. There's always something new going on around here at KBLA. We don't want you to be bored. We want you to be here. We want you to be included. So you can just go on youtube.com and type in KBLA and click on what comes up, and you'll see me there talking to you every morning. See Tavis Smiley there talking to you every late morning, and so on. Lots going on. I'm sure you've heard that Congresswoman Karen Bass has taken the lead again. Well, I shouldn't say again. She's broadened her lead, is what's happened. As we count ballots in the mayor's race, but you know it's kind of tricky because even though I've said I believe she'll win somewhere between 5 and 10 points, it's not guaranteed. She's up by about 4 points right now, widening her lead. I can't remember. I think it's 27,000 or it's more than 20,000, 29,000. But that said, there's like 500,000 votes still to count. So there are no guarantees. There's plenty of experts saying she appears to be on track to win the mayor's race, but certainly there are no guarantees, and we may not know the final answer until December 6th, I guess, or December 5th. December 6th is the runoff election in Georgia. Speaking of nail biters that shouldn't be nail biters, I always talk about that. A lot more going on here in Los Angeles that we need to unpack as we get more and more results, and also a few other things going on locally that they're diving into. We'll do that when we get back, including this strike, 48,000 academic workers in the UC system shutting things down. That's next on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580 would like to thank all the businesses that tune in to KBLA at work. We celebrate you, your calls to the station, and your overall support. To show our appreciation, we would like to treat your office to a lunch for 10, brought to you by K. Michelle's Kitchen Catering. Open the KBLA Talk 1580 app or log on to KBLA1580.com to be selected for our Office of the Week. We know you are just like our staff, putting in many smart, hard-working hours per week. We just want to say thank you, and we appreciate you. You and your staff deserve lunch on us. Enter your office to win lunch for 10 and be highlighted on KBLA Talk 1580 as our office of the week. Open the KBLA app or log on to KBLA 1580 to enter your office today to become the KBLA Talk 1580 office of the week. Sponsored by KMichelle'sKitchenCatering.com. Become the KBLA Talk 1580 office of the week. This has been a KBLA Talk 1580 community call to action.
Leaving things half done, not a good look. Like a half-done hairdo.
All done.
Shouldn't the curls be on both sides? A half-baked peach cobbler.
A gummy crust? I don't think so.
Or a half of a domino.
Bam! Big six!
But where's the other half? Don't go halfway, especially with your immunity to COVID-19. Stay up to date with your vaccines and boosters. Visit myturn.ca.gov to find one near you. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Health is Wealth and Medicare and Covered California's open enrollment for medical insurance is here. RHJ Insurance Agency can help you find affordable rates and a plan that's just right for you and your family. Call 562-204-6120 for your free quote. Don't leave your health to chance. Open enrollment is here and affordable coverage is just a phone call away. Call 562-204-6120 for your free quote and get the coverage you need. Go to www.rhjins.com.
Nacho fries are back at Taco Bell. You know, the fries covered in bold Mexican spices you dip in a warm nacho cheese sauce. You can also dunk them in nacho cheese sauce or pour the sauce onto a pile of them and create like a nacho fries nachos. The thing is that you eat that's what makes them nacho fries. Otherwise, you're just eating fries and sipping on nacho cheese sauce, and that's the wrong way. Sorry, just really passionate about nacho fries.
Nacho fries are only at Taco Bell. At participating U.S. Taco Bell locations for a limited time only while supplies last. Contact local store for hours and participation which vary.
Where can you light up the tree and the savings? Lowe's, actually. Find deals on endless festive holiday decor, like 20% off all pre-lit artificial trees and endless gifts found only at Lowe's. Like the new Cobalt 257-piece mechanics tool set for $99, valued over $600 if purchased separately. Check back daily for deals during Black Friday month and start saving now at Lowe's. Home to any possibility. Offer valid through 11/16 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right
now. Good morning. So one of my friends, one of my KBLA delegation friends asked me, he said, I can see you on YouTube. Does that mean you can see me? I wish I could. That'd be dope. That'd be the new television. Well, I know everyone says the smart TVs are watching us, and it could very well be so. In fact, it probably is so, but not this smart TV. But you can type on the chat. I love that. We do go over there, check out the chat during the breaks, and try to see what's going on with you. Anyway, so yeah, Congresswoman Karen Bass has taken the lead. I consider that very good news. It's 29,000 votes, by the way, that she's up. And a lot of experts are saying because of the trend line, that this latest batch of votes that came in, she was winning by 63%. So that's a pretty big margin. And those are votes apparently coming in from all over LA. So we'll see. Like I said, we have to keep tracking it. She's been real moderate about it. She hasn't been talking any smack. She's been out of the public eye with her family. Mr. Caruso's been, at least over the weekend, touring LA and waving at people and going to parades. So I think it's just a good kind of gauge of how their personalities are, how they might govern. In any case, we've got a lot more votes to count, but we're moving in the right direction. And that's the thing that I was trying to say to you on Election Day. It doesn't mean there's any irregularities. It just means it takes a while to vote. Because guess what? A lot of people voted, and that's a good thing. Okay, according to the LA Times, it's 650,000 votes that remain to be counted. And also according to the LA Times, by the time we finish counting all these votes, Congresswoman Karen Bass may have received more votes than any mayoral candidate in history. One of the reasons for that is a lot of people voted. This idea of moving the two elections closer together, well, not closer together, in alignment. So, in other words, we used to have local elections in odd years and the national elections in even years. Now where they're both in even years, it's working. More people are voting. It makes sense. We don't have all day, every day. We know voting is important and all that, but we also have kids to raise, jobs to go to and whatnot. So putting them together does seem to be making a difference. So there's a strike going on right now. 48,000 unionized workers in the University of California system. That's 10 different campuses. These are people that end up teaching. They're graduate students, they're researchers, postdoctoral scholars, a lot of teaching assistants. So right now you're seeing, campuses not business as usual. Some academic disruptions is what they're calling them. Your classes might be canceled. You might not have a seminar or something that you were meant to have that was run by one of these folks who are on strike. It's a work stoppage. It's going on today as well. And it's under the UAW banner, the United Auto Workers, which represents about half of those folks. And it's about money, like usual. It's about money they want to raise. But it's a huge rate. I think they're looking for like about double what they're getting now, which sounds crazy, but then if you know that, notice they're only getting like $24,000 a year. To live in LA or most anywhere in California, that's just not. I mean, I know that people do it, but it's not easy. Let me put it that way. That would only give you, think about after taxes. If you think about what rents are, that would give you less than $2,000 a month after taxes. Most people are paying close to that in rent. So you can see where the problem comes in. They want child care subsidies, health care for their dependents, family leave, and public transit passes. Plus, they want the tuition costs to go down for international scholars. This is an issue because a lot of these folks are students at the same time they're workers. And although the jobs could be considered part-time, I think they're those kind of jobs that leak over into the rest of your life. So this is, it's funny. I was talking to my sister, who's actually a professor in a college, Columbia University, to be exact. And she was talking about how these kinds of strikes and negotiations are going on at universities all across the country, especially in the big cities where teachers, assistant teachers, graduate students who do research and teach classes cannot afford to pay rent in these big cities. And so they're asking for raises. And so although this is a huge deal in Los Angeles, and of course, we want to stand in solidarity with workers that are looking for better working conditions, better lives, it's worth noting that this is a conversation that's going to happen in cities all over the country. In case you're wondering what's going on, that's what's going on in that sense. Comedian Jay Leno he burned himself. It was a car fire over the weekend. It's a gasoline fire. He says he just needs a week or two to get back on his feet, but apparently this is a pretty serious injury. So quick recovery to that guy. Jay Leno has brought a lot of smiles to a lot of faces for a lot of years. And I know you're getting tired of hearing this story. I know you are, because I am. The story is the story of COVID. The surge and the ebb and the flow and the mutation and or variant, as they call them. Variant is a less scary word for mutation. But basically, it's back. I mean, are you surprised? And what makes it even more sucky is that we're having a flu surge. So I guess that means that when people took the masks off and started slobbing on each other, any little disease that was out there just started to spread. And apparently we got some new variants and nobody wants to get a booster. Have you gotten the booster? I know why no one wants to get a booster. It's because the shots aren't pleasant. They make you feel like crap for a while. At least they did with me. But right now, this is what I started pondering. Not to be paranoid or to make you paranoid, but if you think about COVID, it's a really tricky virus, right? We don't even know all of the things it does. The most scary of which to me is long COVID, which means you could basically be signing up to be permanently disabled with things like brain fog and, various nervous system conditions and lack of energy, lung capacity, diminishing, you know what I'm saying, all things we don't want. And so I thought about this, like I've had COVID. I believe I've had it twice. I bounced back. I didn't get long COVID. I took my vitamins. I rested. I took more vitamins. I probably took your vitamins. But each time you get it, you can get a different strain. And each time you get it again, we are at risk for long COVID all over again, or any of these debilitating side effects, many of which can be lingering, and scientists don't know why, and doctors don't know how to get rid of it yet. I believe we'll get there. So to me, the attitude I used to have, which was like, I've had that thing. I'll say thing because I'm on the radio. I've had that thing, so I'm not going to worry about it. My immunity's up, blah, blah, blah. I've been vaxxed, this, that, and the other. Now I'm thinking, what sneaky little variant could get me the next time that would have a different lingering effect that I don't want? I'm trying to talk myself into getting a booster. I don't like the shots. I'm not like rah shot. But I think when you look at the idea of opening yourself up to being, or when I look at the idea of opening myself up to being permanently disabled by a sneaky virus, well, the minimum it would make me want to do is put on a mask and probably stay home, honestly. I don't know. But I don't know, get a booster if you can, or let me know why you're not, 800-920-1580. We got to talk seriously about this because this is going to be a little struggly winter if we don't get our immune systems together and our COVID avoidance plans on point. It's KBLA, Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Mike Moore, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. In Virginia, classes are canceled again today at the University of Virginia as the school grieves. Thousands gathered for a candlelight vigil last night as new details emerge about a deadly shooting that happened late Sunday on a bus as students in D.C. African-American Christopher Jones Jr., also a student, has since been charged with murder. So, do you know what today is? Well, the White House is issuing a proclamation for America Recycles Day. It's today, and the Biden administration is promoting the benefits of recycling for health and the environment as well as the economy. Biden has released a national recycling strategy to help meet goals for a more sustainable future. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Dell Technologies Black Friday event starts now with up to 50% off select business PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors, plus savings on accessories and free shipping. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Clippers pulled away for a 16-point win last night in Houston. 6 players scored in double figures for the Clippers, led by Paul George's 22 points. The Clippers are in Dallas tonight. The Lakers are off until Friday when they host Detroit. Rams wide receiver Cooper Kupp will miss several weeks with a high sprain of his right ankle. Kupp ranks second in the NFL this season with 75 catches. Number 1 is Miami's Tyreek. No more undefeated teams in the NFL. The Washington Commanders took advantage of 3 Philadelphia turnovers last night to complete a shocking 11-point win over UCLA's men's basketball team. Rolled to a 30-point win last night over Norfolk State, 19 points and 9 rebounds for guard Jalen Clark. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. This sports report was brought to you by MVP Accident Attorneys. When it comes to your settlement, we're slam dunk. Call 833-MVP wins or check their website at themvp.com for a free case review.
When you're the victim of a car accident, hiring the right law firm can be the difference between a rewarding settlement and striking out. Call the pros at MVP Accident Attorneys at 833-MVP-WINS for your free consultation.
Call me your MVP.
Our Weekly Los Angeles is the largest audited black newspaper in the state of California with a distribution of over 50,000 copies weekly. Pick up a copy every Thursday to get the latest news on African American communities of LA. You can also keep up with what's going on in Los Angeles and surrounding cities by going to www.ourweekly.com. The Our Weekly website is updated daily with the current news. For your advertising needs, Our Weekly offers economical advertising packages to fit your budget. Feel free to call Our Weekly Los Angeles at 323-905-1300 or visit the website at www.ourweekly.com. Our Weekly Los Angeles, reporting news that matters to you.
Did you know fixing outdoor leaks can save 27 to 90 gallons of water per day? Even tiny leaks can be huge water wasters. Conserving water starts with a few simple water-saving actions at home and in your yard, like adjusting your sprinklers and adding drip irrigation so you water only where it's needed. We can all do our part to conserve water. Visit SaveOurWater.com for more water-saving tips. Save water, save California.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Maisha Cairo here with Dom Kennedy at JP Morgan Chase's Advancing Black Wealth Tour. They're here to promote generational wealth building in black communities. He's an independent rapper and the owner of OPM record label. Dom Kennedy, why do you find it important to be here today at this event with Chase?
For me, we've been having a lot of conversations with them, and a lot of good feedback that I felt like needed to be shared, and if people heard it, they would take to the information and it would help them on their quest to be homeowners better off financially across the board. They like my perspective, and being an artist and somebody that people knew that was born and raised in LA, people older and like bank managers could kind of be a little intimidating, I guess, to everyday people, especially that has never purchased a home. So just the angle of me being able to communicate it and make the story real, I guess for the younger people was a great opportunity, and I didn't want to pass on.
That's awesome. So answer me this. Why is it important for companies like Chase to promote generational wealth in black and brown communities?
Keep it real. They make a lot of money off the black and brown communities. I look at it like it's a great responsibility for them to take on, to want to share some knowledge and some facts and try to put more people in homes, and give them a shot at and a chance at generational wealth. I think it's beneficial to both parties,
I'm Maisha Cairo, and that was Dom Kennedy. Stay tuned for more tips from Chase's Advancing Black Wealth Tour.
When you tune in to KBLA Talk 1580, we want you to know what you're downloading.
Now you're listening to me, and you're listening to me closely.
In a recent African American media issue survey, research and public policy consulting firm Eviderus, KBLA Talk 1580 was found to be the most trusted, credible, and reliable source on the airways for Black Los Angeles and beyond. We take our role seriously as your trusted messenger. At KBLA Talk 1580, it's about truth, not ratings. And when you hear us say, when we come forward, we mean it. That's the bottom line. We're not going back. Not to the back of the bus, not to back alleys, not back in the closet, and definitely not back to the good old days.
Might as well forget it. No way.
We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
I do appreciate you on this Talking Point Tuesday. And you notice my talking point lately has been about elections and counting votes. Sometimes I think, well, we don't need this when I'm thinking of Cali on the West Coast, but then I talk to people, including some of my dear friends, who seem to be absorbing some of these talking points about elections without even realizing that they're doing it. They start to say things like, well, it's suspicious that the vote counting takes this long, but it isn't suspicious. When you count a thing, it takes time to count a thing. And this idea that we used to count all the votes on election night is actually just factually untrue. It's just not true. It's just that since it's become a talking point, you're starting to notice it more. it's a fact of life, especially when you have the mail-in ballots, because mail-in ballots, you have until Election Day to put it in either a county box or a mailbox. That means it's going to take a few days for it to arrive to the county registrar of voters, and all of those have to be counted. So if I dropped it in a mailbox on Election Day, it's not suspicious that you might be counting it or starting to count it 3 days later, because mail takes time to go from point A to point B. You know that if you've ever sent someone a gift or tried to pay a bill using snail mail. So, yeah, I mean, I try to push back on that because I want us to push back on it to our friends. When we talk about Talking Point Tuesday, it's about locating the source of things that are rattling around in our head, things we might be repeating. And when it comes to this idea that longer counting means there's some irregularity, it doesn't make any sense. If you think about money, if you think about anything else you'd have a big pile of and count, it takes time. And these are things that are being generated by election deniers. The good news, most of them didn't do well nationally on Election Day, but those talking points, they continue because they're serving an agenda, and that agenda is undermining your confidence in our democracy and making it look like there was some validity to these claims of people committing voter fraud. I mean, this is going to sound crazy, but sometimes I wish they would commit voter fraud, in the sense that I wish people cared enough about voting to even be contemplating doing crime in order to do it. No, that's simply not the case. We beg people to vote. Meanwhile, the Republican Party is a party that doesn't want black people to vote, so all they do is try to make it harder and harder for you. And when you hear about what's going on in other states with long lines, I know you can't have water at the line, and there's one drop box per county. In places like Georgia, you know we're going to have to take our little local organizing power and loan some of it to Georgia, because it does make a difference. Even though Democrats will have the majority in the Senate again, whether Raphael Warnock wins or loses, it makes a difference. I mean, for one thing, you know, being able to have that little latitude, so that Joe Manchin doesn't have emperor power, little regent power. We don't want that. We want an elected Senate where it's a deliberative body and folks come up with compromises and solutions. And of course, you shouldn't need 60 folks to pass anything, a simple, basic thing like voting rights, but we do at this point until we get rid of the filibuster. So having that extra wiggle room, that one vote, it also means Vice President Kamala Harris doesn't have to run in and break a tie every time. If and when those times occur where Democrats are able to agree on something, they'll have the 51 votes without having the Vice President there to break the tie. And then, it's been talked about a lot, but committees, if you have a 50-50 split, you co-chair committees, means you've got to deal with an obstructionist Republican, even trying to get legislation out of committee, which you have to do before you can vote on it. So that means having 51 in the Congress in the Senate instead of 50-50 would be helpful. Getting things done, getting things out of committee, not having, I mean, you see how smoothly the January 6th committee went, because they were able to do their work without Republicans gaslighting constantly, which is what they love to do even more than ever in the Matt Gaetz era. It's really the Donald Trump era, but it's just this prevarication where they just say anything and hope it sticks. And that's why we need a Talking Point Tuesday. So it's clear Measure A is passed. The LA County Board of Supervisors will have the power and the authority to fire the sheriff if that should become necessary. It has to be for a serious breach of policy, and it has to be 4 out of 5 of the supervisors that would vote that way. So it's not just something where they can fire the sheriffs every 10 minutes, but for those of us who are concerned about recent developments in the Sheriff's Department, that's good news. It's passed by a landslide. The latest numbers that I'm looking at right here, it's over 70% of voters. that voted yes. The Board of Supervisors should be able to fire the sheriff. And there's, like I said, they're still counting. These are the results as of yesterday at 3:32 p.m. It looks like a lot of these are on very specific trajectories where the votes coming in are affirming the early results. The governor, Measure C, the lieutenant governor, Dr. Shirley Weber, Secretary of State. All of these appear to be pretty solid wins. Shirley Weber's got almost 67% of the vote. What is going on? It feels like fall over here, having, sneezing and all that stuff. I don't know if you're tracking. Maybe you are if you listen to the show. Malia Cohen is going to be, looks like she will be the controller, African-American woman. This is a statewide office, a pretty big deal in California, a huge state. She's got almost 61% of the vote. Fiona Ma. Rob Bonta, again, pretty decisive. He's close to 66% of the vote. And that continues. As votes come in, Insurance Commissioner, Board of that's Ricardo Lara, the Democrat. Tony Vasquez for Board of Equalization, again, the Democrat. Alex Padilla, that's been called. He's close to 70% of the vote for the full term and the unexpired term, which takes him through 2023. So we've got a lot of, even though on the national scene there's suspense around who will control the House, although I think Republicans at this point are just one seat away, and a lot of it did come down to California, and unfortunately we weren't that helpful. A lot of these Republicans in Orange County and other districts did win. And it's interesting the same thing happened in New York, because it's kind of ironic that the East and West Coast, which are always considered to be more liberal or whatever, are actually the ones handing the Congress over to Republicans this time, because our seats hung in the balance and we weren't able to get the job done. Yeah, in Democratic districts, Adam Schiff wins by a landslide, even though in his district, the 30th district, there's two Democrats going against each other. Same with the 29th. Tony Cardenas appears to have beat Angelica Maria Dueñas. Judy Chu won again, no surprise there. Grace Napolitano. But, you've got these races like the 27th district where Mike Garcia wins by a lot, like 10 points over Christy Smith, his Democratic opponent. And I wish that we as Californians could do a little bit better invading some of these conservative districts and helping Democrats to hold on to the House of Representatives. Love to hear from you always. We've got a lot to talk about. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
Courage is contagious. We're KBLA Talk 1580. When you tune in to KBLA Talk 1580, we want you to know what you're downloading.
Now, you listen to me closely.
In a recent African-American media issue survey conducted by the Public Opinion Research and Public Policy Consulting firm Eviderus, KBLA Talk 1580 was found to be the most trusted, credible, and reliable source on the airwaves for Black Los Angeles and beyond. Our role seriously as your trusted messenger. At KBLA Talk 1580, it's about truth, not ratings. And when you hear us say, when we come forward, we mean it.
That's the bottom line.
We're not going back. Not to the back of the bus, not to back alleys, not back in the closet, and definitely not back to the good old days.
Might as well forget it. No way.
We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
This Sunday and every Sunday is the African Marketplace and Drum Circle Community Market. Get free groceries, essential resources, and buy black from local merchants of arts, beauty, custom black merchandise, and more. Choose from a wide variety of cuisines, custom-made clothing, jewelry, and a lot more. Experience the true essence of Africatown at Lamert Park every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Join the Drum Circle, dance, enjoy live performances, connect with other conscious black people. Experience black excellence every Sunday in Africatown Africatown at Leimert Park. You can find us on Degnan Boulevard near Vernon and Crenshaw in the heart of Africatown at Leimert Park. That's the African Marketplace and Drum Circle Community Market. Join us for music, shopping, food, and fun this and every Sunday. Support black businesses, recycle black dollars, and feed your soul. The African Marketplace and in Africatown at Leimert Park. Brought to you by Africatown Enterprise and the African Village Vendors Association.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Less BS per broadcast, fewer microaggressions per megawatt. KBLA Talk 1580.
Yes, indeed. Still unpacking some stuff from this election, which is going to be going on and on and on. And we've had a lot of good news. We really have. I think the ban on flavored tobacco is a win because voters already, the lawmakers already passed this. And then the tobacco industry said, let's put it on the ballot and see if we can trick voters. And they spent a lot of money to do so, and they did not trick voters. I think that's the same thing that we're seeing in the mayoral race and some of these other races. It's like, yeah, spend a lot of money. Look at Prop 27 and 26. Gambling interests, the online gambling interests in the big casinos spent close to $1 billion promoting this. I call it wealth redistribution because it means that those television and radio stations and campaign consultants and graphic artists and all the people that go to work selling these propositions or candidates get paid, and that creates jobs and moves money around that would otherwise be sitting in Rick Caruso's bank account. But my goodness, I have a newfound respect for California voters. I felt that way after Meg Whitman lost, after Carly Fiorina lost, and I feel it again after we defeated Prop 26 and 27 because there was so much confusing advertisement and so many millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of dollars spent to confuse you, and voters were like, no, I don't think so. Yeah. Oh, this will end homelessness. It will, fix our schools. And I think to a certain extent, we're kind of like, yeah, we've heard that before. And so those are the talking points within these ads. And it's almost like voters, either we must have done a deep dive and really looked at this and realized this is just about huge companies wanting to profit off of gambling on sports, or we said, we're just going to vote no because we don't get it. It's too confusing. All this stuff about, what is going to schools and what's going to the unhoused, and just no. So I have, like I said, a newfound respect for us. It's crazy that we're in such an intense cycle in terms of what's going on with the Los Angeles City Council, still Black Lives Matter and other activists looking for council member Kevin De Leon. If you know where in the world is Kevin De Leon, go to BLM Grassroots and drop a DM because they will show up. Activists will show up until this man steps down. So we've got all that going on, and no one's backing down. The only reason you don't hear more about Gil Cedillo is because he was voted out by his own constituents, so he'll be gone in December, rain or shine. Kevin De Leon has a couple more years on his term, and folks want him to step down, and they're not giving up. So that's not going away. We've got these contested races or closely watched races. I don't know if you'd call the sheriff's race contested. It's not close, but, you don't know, right? You don't know until you know for sure. Mayor's race. That we actually have a serial sexual predator, Harvey Weinstein, on trial, and is getting very little play. Not only is he on trial, the wife of the governor of the state of California is testifying. That shows you how insane this news cycle is right now. Any other time we'd be fixated on that. The fact that this man who terrorized women for decades is getting his day in court or the women are getting their day in court, I should say, in LA right now, even though he's already been convicted on the East Coast, and that the wife of the governor is one of the people testifying against him on any other time would be dominating our news cycle. It's one of the reasons why I think, it's important to have stuff like KBLA Talk 1580 where we can bob and weave and track the things that are going on that maybe aren't getting the attention at that moment. Love to hear what you think is important. 800-920-1580. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, reminding you, when we fight, we win. Central CSO organizes for the rights of the undocumented, quality public education, and supporting in solidarity other communities seeking social stands for Chicano X, self-determination, defending public education, and fighting for all oppressed people in Boyle Heights and East Los Angeles. Find Central CSO meetings every third Wednesday. Visit online at centralcso.wordpress.com or on Instagram at CentralCS. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Did you know fixing outdoor leaks can save 27 to 90 gallons of water per day? Even tiny leaks can be huge water wasters. Conserving water starts with a few simple water-saving actions at home and in your yard, like adjusting your sprinklers and adding drip irrigation so you water only where it's needed. We can all do our part to conserve water. Visit SaveOurWater.com for more water-saving tips. Save water, save California.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that when we fight, we win. Community Coalition trains activists and organizers in order to support power building with Black, Brown, Indigenous, and people of color. Community Coalition works and economic conditions in South LA that foster addiction, crime, violence, and poverty by building a community institution that involves thousands creating, influencing, and changing public policy. Founded by Karen Bass in 1990, Community Coalition was born as an African American and Latino organization with the goal of turning hopelessness and despair into action. The activism of the Community Coalition's members and community residents has almost solely stimulated economic recovery in South LA for decades, generating billions of dollars by redirecting them to South LA schools and foster care. In addition, Community Coalition offers amazing mind, body, soul resources, advocacy, and policy work, and has a robust and active membership body. To become a member, get a referral, or get support for your nonprofit, visit CocoSouthLA.org. That's CocoSouthLA.org, or call 323-750-9087. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
Right, so I was mentioning Harvey Weinstein's trial, which is going on right now. And as I pointed out, the governor's wife, Jennifer Seibel Newsom, as she goes by, she was called Jane Doe number 4 in court, but her attorney said who she was, and obviously we would know who she was. She was crying on the stand yesterday, saying that Weinstein raped her, sexually assaulted her 17 years ago, and telling the story of how he tricked her. She's a documentary filmmaker and an actor, and she had agreed to meet him at the Peninsula in Beverly Hills. But she said she felt confused when she got a message from his assistant saying meet her in his suite. But she went, and then she noticed he didn't seem interested in talking about her projects. She said he went to go get more comfortable. Boy, that's corny. And then calls for help, right? Help. He's in the bathroom. He calls for help. She goes, and he rapes her. It's just, and this is an MO because we hear the same story from many different women over many, many years. And it's disgusting, and I'm glad that he has to deal with this, even if we're distracted. And can you imagine the wife of the governor being raped by a Hollywood mogul, and now he's on trial? Well, you don't have to imagine it because it's happening right now. And I think when we look at things like the Me Too movement, when we look at the movement for Black Lives, the anti-racist movement, we think that the minute people stop marching in the streets, it means that it's over. But it's not that at all. The impacts continue as long as people follow up. She talked about her shame. She talked about her horror. And you think about that. Here's a woman, a beautiful blonde woman who has had a successful career on her own and is now married to the governor of a state which boasts reportedly the fourth largest economy in the world. And now she's still crying because she's got to face this slime ball. You could have your criticisms of our movement, but these are the moments we need to track because people are always we like to talk about how there's no accountability for people who aren't black. And in this moment, we are seeing a bit of accountability for someone who's decidedly not black, someone who's decidedly very wealthy, and who has used that wealth, leverage, privilege to terrorize and exploit women for decades. So I think it's worth noting, throwing up a prayer while you're praying. Let's pray that the vote keeps going in the right direction. At this point, the votes are cast, right? Whether it's sheriff or some of these house races that are still close, whether it's the mayor's office here in LA, the votes are cast. But we know prayer works. So as Molly Bell would say, all you prayer warriors, you know what you got to do. I don't know about fasting, but let's do some praying. And also praying for unity, that our city can come together, that we can move forward and fix the things that need to be fixed together, not with one person as a savior, but with all of us rowing this boat in the right direction. I'm Dominique DiPrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.